CEMTV News. Truth first, you next. Stay informed to stay empowered on CEMTV, your favorite television station.
This is CEMTV News at 6.
CEMTV News, truth first, you next. Stay informed to stay empowered. Good evening and welcome to CEMTV News at 6. I am Barrister Christian Wingor. Let's take a look at the headlines. University lecturers call for sweeping reforms in education over ill-prepared graduate. Federal government order universities to dismiss students involved in kidnapping and other criminal activities. Plus, Guatemala volcano eruption triggers the evacuation of villages on its slopes. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment.
This is CEMTV News at 6.
Welcome back. We begin from River State with a report that lecturers of the River State University have called for sweeping reforms, warning that the country is producing students who are ill-prepared for higher education and modern world. They spoke during a separate interviews with CEMTV, stressing that a weak foundation at the primary and secondary school levels continues to undermine the quality of learning across the country. Our correspondent now completes the report.
Speaking on the recent political developments in Rivers State, Dr. Jesse Okedi stated that there is no vacuum in government, noting that the governor's decisions regarding appointments, including the newly elected parliamentary leadership, are aimed at ensuring the smooth functioning of the state's political system. He, however, criticised
This is CEMTV News at 6.
Dr. Boma Omubopepo of the Department of Modern Languages, French, said Nigeria's educational system requires a total overhaul, citing poor oral expression, spelling, and critical thinking among students as evidence of a failing system. He attributed the situation to the poor implementation of education policies, the use of unqualified or improperly deployed teachers, and inadequate professional training.
So I don't know where to come from, but I know that if it is possible for government to provide some level of subvention for indigent students, it will make sense. In my days, I received a lot of bursary. They call it, what is it called now? From local government. I got some funds from local government to support my education. I got some funds from state government when I wanted to travel abroad, because as a French undergraduate at that time, it was mandatory for me to, school abroad for one whole year, as they call it year abroad. So I got some subvention support from state government. I got support from my local government, and they were paying bursary at that time. So students were able to, at least even if they don't get money for textbook, whatever you pay yearly as bursary, they use it to pay their school fees to support their parents. In the last 10 years, I don't know any local government, I don't know any state that has paid bursary to students. It's unfortunate. So we keep losing our students every day, and then sometimes you don't see your students for 1 month, and by the time they appear, as a teacher who shows concern, I call some of them, I reach out, and they tell us that I don't have transport to come to school. It's very pathetic.
Also speaking, Dr. Nkepriye Brisive expressed concern over the academic standard of newly admitted university students, describing their performance as shocking and a reflection of the poor foundation laid at the basic education level. He said government must prioritize quality primary and secondary education by providing well-equipped laboratories, practical learning, and an enabling environment that will prepare students for tertiary education. Both lecturers agree that without urgent and deliberate investment in the education sector, Nigeria risks continuing to produce graduates who are ill-equipped to meet the demands of an evolving global society.
The primary schools, the secondary schools, because sometimes what we see in 100 level is quite shocking. So they have to ensure that our primary and secondary schools are well funded, especially those government schools, and the standard is top notch. In that way, they can produce students that are ripe for university education, because some of them just graduate from just leave secondary school from SS1 because they just want to be, the parents want to train them fast. So some of them graduate from SS1 and they're not really ready. Some SS2, and I know the government tries to regulate that that practice, but how serious have they been in enforcing such practices? So all those things have to be taken into consideration. The foundation, okay, the academic foundation is an issue, and it affects our young people a lot.
Meanwhile, a lecturer at Rivers State University, Dr. Jesse Okedi, has expressed concern over the prolonged political crisis in Rivers State, saying the ongoing rift between Governor Simla Ifobara and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has negatively affected government's investment and public confidence. Dr. JC also predicted that the 2027 election could produce unexpected outcome as political loyalties continue to deepen. Our correspondent now completes the story.
Speaking on the recent political developments in Rivers State, Dr. Jesse Okedi stated that there is no vacuum in government, noting that the governor's decisions regarding appointments, including the newly elected parliamentary leadership, are aimed at ensuring the smooth functioning of the state's political system. He, however, criticized the prolonged political dispute between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and Nyesom Wike, describing it as a source of confusion that has slowed development and discouraged investment in the state.
Fubara, I'm sure there are vacuums that have been created by the retirement of others, because those that were permanent secretary, you can be permanent secretary today, they say if you ever get out as a permanent secretary, you are either forced out or you are retired. So it's him working with the system and knows those that will bring in their best to ensure the system doesn't crash. That's what he has done. I would rather they should have a rethink and understand that Rivers State is beyond persons. We should be looking at the future. What does all of these portend for our future, and how do we get from the point where we are now to another point? Because where we are now is you don't know whether you have assembly or no, you don't have assembly. You don't know whether you have a governor or you don't have a governor. If a governor can be seated and he's so threatened, he can't make any policy statement, then why is there a government? And why must somebody from the military come to in a state where there is no violence, nothing? Why the entire political brigandage is brigandry for the bar banditry is unfortunate, seriously.
According to him, if both leaders had already reached an understanding, there was little justification for allowing the political conflict to escalate and involve the electorate. He urged both parties to place the interest of Rivers State above personal political differences. Reacting to Governor Fubara's reported acceptance of the coalition arrangement, Dr. Okedi said the move appeared to signal a retreat from the political confrontation, questioning why the conflict was allowed to intensify only for both parties to later seek reconciliation. He described the situation as leaving many residents feeling misled. Looking ahead to the 2027 general elections, Dr. Okedi predicted that the polls could produce major surprises, noting that many Rivers residents have already aligned themselves with either Governor Fubara or Wike. He added that while political influence will continue to play a role, voters are likely to make their decisions based on convictions they have already formed.
If eventually you go back to the, why did you start a fight? What went wrong? You should rethink it. What went wrong? in just less than 100 days in office, and there is a war, there is this. What happened? Oh, you knew there was an agreement. Tinubu this, Tinubu that. I don't understand. If you have an agreement, keep it. Why did you draw people into that fight? You know how many persons died because of that thing? Oh, they are waiting for people to die on the streets. No. A lot of people talk their neck and they are paying heavy price for daring. Now, if you knew that in the end it will, why start the fight? I just sat down with this man and say, okay, sorry, I know I have failed. See this area, just allow me. Please, just allow me here. And there will be no problem. But no, you came and created this illusion, because the whole fight now has become an illusion. In the end, there was an agreement and eventually you are honoring it. Why the whole brouhaha of I went and picked form, I went and joined APC? It makes no sense.
Away from that, former special advisor to the Rivers State Governor, Darlington Orji, has declared his support for the Rainbow Coalition, announcing Kingsley Okechinda as his preferred candidate for 2027 governorship election. Dr. Darlington Orji made this statement on CEMTV's New Surgery show today. Our correspondent has the rest of the report.
He said politics should be driven by the quality of candidates rather than the political parties, adding that he would not attend any further PDP meetings. Orji explained that he had stood with the governor until they came to a crossroad, stressing that his political loyalty now lies with the coalition.
But for me, wholeheartedly, I've decided to go back, taken from the orders of the governor, and even the governor has returned back to the Rainbow Coalition, and by the special grace of God, all of us will put our hands on the deck like usual to make sure that all the candidates who believe in our party and in the Rainbow Coalition wins.
He further stated that he remains committed to the leadership of Nyesom Wike and would support any political decision taken by him during the election season. According to him, election periods often bring new political realignments, with long-standing allies sometimes parting ways. He also noted that the political rift in the state began less than 100 days after the current administration assumed office.
We have had our time of difficulty, we have suffered, there are a lot of setbacks, and I'll give you one clear example. Remember that as soon as the governor came in, the FCT minister flagged up as a special guest on the ring road that goes across about 6 local governments in River State. But you can go to Bogoro today, which is part of the ring road, and see the suffering. You will even imagine whether there are human beings that are living there. Even in my own area, in Ropoku, Julius Berger pulled out of sight. Even when we know how much that was paid, everybody took advantage of the crisis because there was no clear authority. Nobody can assert authority. Nobody can discipline any person. People just, in fact, everybody became a lord of their own. And at the end of the day, we are suffering.
In a separate development, the founder, managing director and chief executive officer of Bonju Mills Limited of Akurayi Utoro on Saturday, August 1st, 2026 celebrated his 50th birthday alongside the company's 10th anniversary at Aztec Acom in Port Harcourt, River State, with royal fathers, government officials, business leaders, and other distinguished guests in attendance. In a goodwill message led by his wife, his friends, and family, highlighted the growth of Bonju bread across the Niger Delta and prayed for success and longevity for the celebrant and his business. Our correspondent has the rest of the report.
Speaking at the event, Mr. Utoro said 2026 is significant to the Bonju family as it marks 16 years since the bread business began, 10 years of Bonju Mill Limited, and his 50th birthday. He said the company now operates 7 branches across Rivers, Bayelsa, and Delta states and employs about 1,500 staffs, supported by over 300 distributors.
It's not just a celebration of my 50th birthday. It's also a remarkable, this year is also a remarkable year because Bonju Mills Limited as a company is also 10 years. And this is also my 16th year of my business journey. So God has really been faithful to us. Greater years ahead. If we could have gone this far in 10 years, I know the next 10 years will take us around Africa. You never can imagine where you will be. Just depend on God and put in your best. Anytime I'm opportune to take a seminar, I always tell people there is a God factor and there is that you must put in by yourself. If you pray from today till tomorrow and you don't put in that your own, God will not act.
A major highlight was the reading of Mr. Utoru's autobiography by his daughter, Jemima Utoru, who reflected on his humble beginnings, the loss of Bonjour's father before birth, and how faith and perseverance shaped his journey from hardship to entrepreneurial success. Goodwill messages were delivered by his wife, Mrs. Glory Utoru. Family members and friends described him as resilient, God-fearing, and committed to creating opportunities for others.
Today, I celebrate not just your 50th birthday, but the extraordinary man you are. You are a loving husband, a pillar of strength, a man of wisdom, integrity, and excellence. Your life has been a blessing to our family and to everyone privileged to know you. At 50, you stand as a testament to God's faithfulness, grace, and favor.
Guests present also took turns to wish him a happy 50th birthday, offering prayers and heartfelt congratulations while celebrating the growth of Bonjour Mill Limited and its contribution to employment and economic development in the Niger Delta and nationwide.
Happy birthday, my son. Many years and prosperity. I can't talk finish. I short of words.
Friend at the 50th birthday today. A very nice guy. And I wish him more fruitful, more blessed years ahead.
Celebration of a very gentleman. The pride of the Niger gentleman and he's a very good fellow, a very good fellow. In the next 5 days, the sky will be his limit. I want to appreciate the celebrant. I want to thank God for his life, for God making him to climb the 5th star. Going higher than higher. If there's any other one,
wish him more fruitful years, strong years, and more progressive business. He will need the fruit of his labor. He will need to save the fruit of his labor. Well, definitely that is correct. We wish him all the best because for him to clock 50 years, he must have achieved. And look at the celebration. It's almost everywhere on the grade of the society that are here. And as a member of the Zone 16, PCRC, we welcome him and sincerely ask God to give him more blessing. I wish for you happy birthday, long life and prosperity. Bonjour, Mr. Bonjour. I wish him a wonderful celebration. This is the Golden Jubilee and it's a world celebration. I wish him everything good and I wish him more wins in life.
To my big bro, I wish him longevity, good health and vitality. I pray that God Almighty perfect all that concerns him.
Happy birthday, big brother. I want you to know that I love you so much and I continue to pray that God continues to provide for you, preserve you and your family, continues to give you your heartfelt desires. I just wish you a happy birthday and a long life and prosperity.
I wish him all the best. Anybody can wish himself. He's a versatile young man. It will interest you to know that he trained as an engineer. He went into the confectionery industry and he has made a name. I always love his bread. Thank God that he has clocked 50 years. Today, I wish him all the best. Any young man can wish himself. With the speed he's growing, the sky will be his limit. And may God bless him abundantly. In Jesus' name.
Mr. Morrison is a very nice person to us. He has been through with us throughout his relationship. We are very, very close. He is a kind and gentleman. I wish him more years in good health and prosperity.
I want to wish him an awesome 50th birthday celebration. This is just the beginning. He will continually excel. He will expand in his business. He will have divine health, and I wish him great prosperity.
Miracle CEMTV News.
Meanwhile, 15 years after the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP released its landmark report exposing the devastating impact of decades of oil pollution in Ogoniland and recommended one of the world's most ambitious environmental remediation programs. The Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, says the Ogoni cleanup is on course. In a statement marking the 15th anniversary of the report, HYPREP said significant progress has been recorded in implementing the UNEP recommendations, with milestones achieved in environmental remediation, mangrove restoration, potable water supply, healthcare, livelihood restoration, and biodiversity conservation. Recall that the landmark UNEP report presented to the federal government on August 14, 2011 revealed extensive environmental degradation, widespread contamination of land and groundwater, severe public health risk, and the collapse of traditional livelihood caused by decades of petroleum operations. It recommended an initial $1 billion intervention fund to commence the restoration of Ogoniland. To the national scene, where the federal government has directed Vice Chancellor, rectors, and provosts of tertiary institutions across the country to dismiss any student found culpable after the investigation of involvement in kidnapping or related criminal activities. Minister of Education Dr. Tujin Alausa issued the directive during a meeting with the Pro-Chancellor Governing Council and management of the Federal University of Fulafia in Abuja. Alausa said the directive followed concerns over reports that some students were allegedly involved in kidnapping operations carried outside their campuses, stressing that tertiary institutions must not become safe havens for criminal elements. In another development, the Joint National Public Service Negotiation Council Trade Union side has called on the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Oyedele, to convene an urgent meeting over the delayed payment of 2-month wage award and the implementation of the 40% peculiar allowance for federal workers. In a letter addressed to the minister signed by the Council's National Secretary Ogbenga Olowoye on behalf of the National Chairman Benjamin Yanto, they expressed disappointment that 2 previous letters on the matter had gone unanswered. According to the union, the proposed meeting is aimed at finding an amicable resolution to the unresolved welfare issues and preventing what is described as a looming industrial crisis. The council said its demand focused on 2 key issues: the implementation of the 40% peculiar allowance approved by the National Salaries, Incomes and Wage Commission, and the payment of 2-month outstanding wage award covering March and April 2026. In other news, the Economic Staff Union of University ASU Adekunle Ajasin, University Akungba Akoko chapter says its members are yet to receive salary payment alert despite the Ondo State Governor's approval of a special intervention fund of over 1.1 billion naira to offset outstanding salary arrears owed to workers in the institution. The union said the ongoing indefinite strike, which has grounded academic activities at the university since July 10, 2026, will not be suspended until lecturers and other affected workers receive payment notification in their bank account. Chairman of ASU AAUA, Comrade Bolu Oshodi, said the union had been informed that the state government released the intervention fund to the university, but the institution was still awaiting the credit of the funds into its account. Away from that, the Nigerian Bar Association has disclosed that former Liberian President George Weah will deliver the keynote address at its 2026 Annual General Conference in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. According to a statement issued by the chairman of the conference planning committee, Abdul Mohammed San, the choice of picking where reflects the NBA's commitment to elevate the quality of discourse and to deepen conversations on the issues to be explored in context of this year's theme, Beyond Limit. The statement described Ware as a symbol of hope, resilience, and service, adding that he has inspired youth around the globe as a politician and sportsman. Ware, who served as the President of the Republic of Liberia from 2018 to 2024, holds bachelor and master's degrees in business administration and public administration from Denver University in Miami, Florida, United States. In another development, the Minister of the Federal Capital Authority, Nyesom Wike, says the FCT administration is considering banning commercial motorcycles, popularly known as Okada, and tricycle, also known as Keke Napep, in part of Abuja, over growing security concerns. Wike said the decision followed recommendations from the FCT Security Council after intelligence report linked motorcyclists to criminal activities. The FCT minister revealed that he had approved measures to strengthen security logistics and directed security agencies to identify areas where the operations of Okada and Keke Napep should be prohibited. The minister, however, said a blanket ban across the Federal Capital Territory would be difficult to implement because of the city size and transportation needs. Away from that, the Adamawa State Police Command has launched an investigation into the alleged shooting of a businessman by military personnel in Mobi North local government area of the state. The command spokesperson SP Suleiman Ngoroji disclosed this in a statement issued on Tuesday, saying the incident was reported to the police on August 3, 2026. According to the statement, the report was made by Muslim Abubakar of Yelwa Ward Mobi North, who alleged that his younger brother Suleiman Abubakar sustained a gunshot injury during an encounter with military personnel on the night of August 2, 2026. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police in the Adamawa State, CP Kabiru Hassan, has directed the State Criminal Investigation Department to conduct a thorough and impartial investigation into the circumstances surrounding the incident. The command said the investigation is aimed at establishing the facts surrounding the alleged shooting and ensuring that justice is served. Meanwhile, the Northern Youth Council of Nigeria (NYCN) has called on faith leaders to prioritize the welfare of the people and the survival of the country over personal gain, access to power, or self-serving silence. National President Northern Youth Council of Nigeria Isa Abubakar, in a statement, called on religious scholars, clerics, and traditional leaders of all faiths, Muslims and Christians alike, across Nigeria to emulate Cardinal Onayenkan's courage, saying that the Cardinal spoke the collective mind of the Nigerian people. The statement enjoined the presidency and its aides, who have chosen to discredit the messenger rather than examine the message, asking what exactly did Cardinal Onayenkan say that is not the present reality of the country. In Osun State, Afrobeat star Davido has declared his support for his uncle, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, ahead of the August 15th governorship election. The singer announced this in a post on X today, saying he has been focusing on his album but will be in Osun for the campaign, adding that the Adeleke camp is not intimidated by any opposition. Recall that Davido has been one of his uncle's loudest supporters since 2022, and his presence is expected to boost turnout for the Accord Party in the upcoming poll. Elsewhere, the State General Assembly has passed a bill to regulate private school fees and other matters connected to it, and the bill titled Private and Voluntary Institutions Board Amendment Bill 2026 is expected to strengthen oversight and protect parents. It was passed after its third reading during the plenary. The bill requires private schools to consult parents, teachers, association, PTAs before raising fees, with any increase capped at 10%. Private schools are barred from charging more than 10% above official exam registration fees set by WAEC and NECO and NAPTEP, while statutory charges to the board are reduced from 15 to 5%. The bill, which now awaits Governor Abba Kabiru Yusuf assent, stipulated that the position of Executive Secretary of the Private and Voluntary Institutions Board must be held by a retired or seasoned educationist who has obtained at least grade level 14 and a public service. The Assembly said the provisions form part of a broader effort to streamline administration and elevate educational standards throughout Kano State. Still to come on the news stories. Aviation unions accuses airlines of withholding billions of naira in statutory ticket sales charges. Stay tuned for details of these in a moment. We'll be right back.
This is CEMTV News. Truth first, you next. Stay informed to stay empowered on CEMTV, your favorite television station.
Thanks for staying tuned. Now to the rest of the news stories. In Africa, the bodies of Zimbabwean national Notable Zadile Shuma and her two daughters have arrived in Harare ahead of their burial in Bulawayo. The trio were allegedly killed in the United Kingdom last month, while the children's father remains in custody in South Africa. Investigators suspect Notable's husband, Ndodana Nkanyisi Shuma, who is also the father of the two girls, was responsible for their death. Meanwhile, authorities in the United Kingdom and South Africa are continuing legal proceedings related to the case, including effort linked to the ongoing criminal investigation. Still in Africa, Mali finance minister says the country could raise up to $883 million from recent mining reforms to help fund energy, water and transport projects. Minister Aloseni Samoa, who made the statement on state television, said the new infrastructure development fund had mobilized about $194 million between January 1st, 2025 and June 30th, 2026. Recall that officials said in December that government auditors recovered about $1.3 billion in alleged arrears from mining companies. The Malian government has established the Malian Office of Precious Substances, a state body tax regulating and controlling the country's artisanal gold trade. Meanwhile, according to Interpol's African Cyber Threat Assessment Report 2026, artificial intelligence is now powering more than half of reported cybercrime across Africa, allowing criminals to launch faster, more convincing, and larger-scale attacks. The report found that 55% of cybercrime cases recorded across the continent involve the use of AI, raising concern as African digital economy continues to expand. Based on data from 36 African countries, the 40-page assessment says cybercrime has evolved into a highly organized cross-border industry that is becoming harder for authorities to detect and stop. According to the report, online scams remain the most common form of cybercrime in 2025, with criminals increasingly using artificial intelligence alongside social media platforms and mobile money services to target victims. Still in Africa, 14 people were killed and 5 others injured in a landslide that buried worshippers at a monastery in Ethiopia's northern Amhara region. Report says the northern of Africa nation, home to around 130 million people, is experiencing heavy rainfall during the longer of its rainy season, which runs from June to September. Mugabe Hadi's Neka Tibet Ababu, the diocesan head, said the landslide which occurred in Isela Dinge, about 200 kilometers northeast of the capital Addis Ababa, happened early on Monday after a heavy overnight rainfall accompanied by lightning and thunder. On the foreign scene, the President of the European Commission has called for action to strengthen Europe borders after tens of thousands of people arrived and quickly left the Spanish territory of Ceuta, triggering a furious war between Madrid and other European countries. In a letter to Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, Ursula von der Leyen said the incident has taught countries that more must be done to further strengthen borders at critical points, including vigilant monitoring and the use of physical barriers where needed. She praised the Spanish socialist leader's swift handling of the crisis after the vast majority of migrants left Ceuta, and Spanish officials began installing a 500-meter floating barrier at the border with Morocco. Order has been. And on the Ukraine, Russia war, 2 wall barriers warehouses were hit by Ukrainian strike overnight on Monday, with another site apparently linked to Russia's largest online retailer also damaged near Moscow. Russia's defense ministry said it had intercepted and destroyed 320 drones overnight. Kiev says the depot supplied the Russian military, which Moscow denies. Meanwhile, strikes launched by Russia across Ukraine killed at least 4 people. Still on the foreign scene, French authorities have said more than 150 migrants have been rescued after the boats they were using to cross the channel caught fire today. It comes just a day after Prime Minister Berman pledged his government will be relentless in curbing the number of people arriving in the UK on small boats. Report says the boat was attempting to cross to the UK when its engine caught fire, adding that 157 people have been rescued and are being taken to port in Bolong-Soma. In the meantime, the eruption of the Fuego volcano in Guatemala has triggered the evacuation of at least 2 villages on its slopes. Reports say pyroclastic current, rivers of gas, volcanic ash, and rock fragments is continued to flow down Fuego's southeastern slope early today. Disaster Management Agency CONAD has issued a nationwide orange alert, the second highest, and warned locals to be prepared as the eruption could create further pyroclastic flow and billowing ash clouds. CONAD also warned visitors and locals alike to refrain from approaching or remaining in areas at risk, in particular on the volcano slopes. In a separate development, Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey, all mediators and their troops in the Gaza Strip, have strongly condemned ongoing Israeli violations, denouncing the targeting of health facilities and infrastructure and the resulting civilian casualties, including women and children. The joint statement comes after Israel's renewed strike on the Palestinian territory, which reportedly killed over 20 people. The mediators, who stressed the need for Israel to fully uphold its commitment under the ceasefire agreement, said the attacks were undermining effort to implement its second phase, particularly following Hamas' acceptance of the roadmap and agreement to confine their weapons. Still to come in the news stories, President Tinubu commends Team Nigeria's 24-medal achievement pledge by investment in sports. Stay tuned for details of these in a moment. We'll be right back.
This is CEMTV News at 6. This is CEMTV News at 6.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now to the rest of the news stories. In business news, 2 major aviation unions have declared they are prepared to commence restraining of airline accused of withholding billions of naira in statutory ticket sales charge, warning that the action could begin anytime. The threat follows the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum issued to the affected airlines on August 3, 2026 after an earlier 14-day notice failed to produce the desired response. In a statement jointly signed by the General Secretary of Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Francis Akinjole, and the Deputy General Secretary of National Union of Air Transport Employees, Odinaka Ibokwe, the unions accused the airlines of collecting statutory charges from passengers on behalf of government aviation agencies but failed to remit the funds as required by the law. Meanwhile, 25 states have issued or sued President Donald Trump administration over a waiver of tariff against dozens of countries. The U.S. says the tariffs, which range between 10 and 12.5%, were imposed due to trading partners including the UK, China, and the European Union failing to properly tackle forced labor. The coalition of democratic states said the decision was arbitrary and contrary to law. Meanwhile, White House spokesman Kush Desa said the U.S. was using its lawful authority to address practices that burden American businesses, stressing that any foreign country is failing to deal with the importation of goods produced with forced labor was unreasonable and must be addressed. And in health, the Niger State government has begun the enrollment of 66,000 vulnerable residents into the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund to expand free healthcare coverage and reduce the cost of medical treatment for poor households. The exercise, which covered all 25 local government areas, was flagged off in a minor alongside the unwavering of the First Lady Hajia Fatima Muhammad Bago as the Niger Health Insurance Ambassador. Commissioner for Secondary School Tertiary Healthcare, Dr. Matala Mohammed Bagana, said over 121,000 residents have already benefited from the scheme, adding that the new enrollment will further improve access to essential healthcare services. Report says as Niger Healthcare Insurance Ambassador, the First Lady pledged to promote health insurance for women, children, the elderly persons living with disability, and other vulnerable groups, stressing that no one should be denied health care because of inability to pay. And in sport, about 10,000 runners from Nigeria and other West African countries and East Africa are expected to converge on Port Harcourt, the River State capital, for an international half marathon covering a distance of 21 kilometers. Speaking at a media briefing, the conveyor of the Port Harcourt International Marathon, Goodluck Azunwena, said the 2026 edition is more than a race, showcasing culture, tourism, and healthy living through sport under the theme, Green Race. He said the organizers have already secured the support of the River State government and some private partners while remaining open to additional sponsorship. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Team Nigeria for its impressive outing at the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, where the country won 24 medals. In a statement issued by a special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, Tinubu said the athletes had flown the nation's flag with dignity and pride throughout the competition, added that the medals were a testament to their hard work and perseverance. Nigeria finished the games with 10 gold, 7 silver, and 7 bronze medals. Still in sport, UFC owners lost $30 million staging the Freedom 250 event, which was attended by the U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House in June. Parent company TKO Group Holdings said despite the one-off event losses, which UFC expected, the organization still saw an increase of revenue for the second quarter of 2026. Reports say tickets were not sold to the general public for the event, and initial costs were predicted to be more than $60 million. adding that UFC was able to recoup some money through sponsorships, media exposure, and other partnerships. Recall that an estimated 4,300 people, including President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, were present for the invite-only event on the south lawn of the presidential compound, which formed part of celebration to mark 250 years of American independence. And on entertainment, real estate mogul King Ochacho has described the $400 million mansion he gifted TikTok star Paula and his wife Jarvis at the wedding as small money, adding that more giveaways are already in the works. Ochacho, whose full name is King Mohammed Ade and founder of Ochacho Real Homes, made the comment during the TikTok live stream 2 days after the couple's lavish wedding in Lagos on August 1st. Report says the announcement made during the ceremony before a room full of guests and celebrities drew widespread applauses and went viral almost immediately. On the ongoing Big Brother reality show, Showbiz has emerged as the head of house for week 2 of Big Brother Naija season 11 after defeating the other housemates in Monday's challenge to secure immunity from eviction this week. The housemate battled through several stages of the game, with Showbiz crossing the finish line first. Ricky followed closely behind the second place, while Nomi recorded the poorest performance in the head of house challenge and was handed this week's bench warmer title. Report says as part of the punishment, she is required to wear a special outfit throughout the week and use an assigned bench as a designated seat in the house. Recall that earlier Big Brother introduced a twist that detached the head of house lounge privilege from the head of house title through a lucky dip. Sheba selected Cassie to enjoy access to the lounge, and Cassie subsequently picked Nomi as his guest. And that is CEMTV News at 6. Before we go, a quick recap of the major stories. We started off by informing you that university lecturers are calling for sweeping reforms in education overall ill-prepared graduates. In education, we reported that the federal government has ordered universities to dismiss students involved in kidnapping and other criminal activities. And on the foreign scene, we reported that Disaster Management Agency CON issued a nationwide orange alert in Guatemala as volcano eruption triggered evacuation of villages. And in business, we told you that aviation unions have vowed actions against airlines withholding billions of naira in statutory ticket sales charge. And in sport, we told you that President Tinubu has commended Team Nigeria's 24-medal achievement, pledging more investment in sport. Many thanks for watching CEMTV News at 6. Do ensure to follow us via social media handle at CEMTVPLUS across X, Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. We're also available on my Comsat channel to watch us on free to air. I am Bariswa Christian Wiga. Good evening. Do enjoy the rest of our broadcast, and bye for now.
This